All right, I'm live now. I know it's late, but I figured I might as well make it hangouts. Now, granted, I probably am going to delete this hangout probably after it goes live. Now, originally, I was planning on putting this hangout on my second channel, but it turns out some weird glitch happened, so I wasn't even able to do it for some weird reason. I don't know why, but that's totally fine by me. I don't really care all too much if that's going to be the case or not for a while. Um, yeah, I don't really care too much if it just doesn't work on my other channel, the Forbidden Thinkers Awesome channel. Um, Ultimately, I just don't care if that were the case. However, I guess the only thing I do care is whether or not do we give chance or people the chance or opportunity to actually join in or talk to me if they can or want. I guess that's what matters. I don't know really. Uh, Lately, I've just been, ugh, I've been dealing with a lot of pain issues. Maybe that's part of the reason why sometimes in some of my videos I can be somewhat grouchy, but that's kind of largely because I'm in pain. Like when I'm in pain, that's kind of a sign that yeah, I'm having a bit of a back issue, and don't worry about the uh background noise. I can fix that easily now. I can totally fix this. There we are. The wonders of doing these hangouts on a on a desktop computer is a lot better than like doing this on desktop has changed everything for the hangout. So it made it's really made doing it a whole lot easier for me. There was a lot less noise. Certainly, there's a lot less problems, and now I get a greater degree of control for certain aspects, which is nice. Eh, let's see here. I'm trying to spread around the links to watch the hangout because I'm going to see if I can't post the link to watch the hangout at least. But yeah, if you're watching and you want to hop on in or ask a question, just type in the chat. If you're really interested, nobody has to if they don't want to. I usually, I always make the hangouts optional. Let's see here. Yep, got the link. So I just did a collab with Amanda Wolfchild, and that was a pretty fun collab. And I like the veil so far, and I really do like it. And I hope in the future I can maybe do more of collabs with other people as well in the future. Let's post the link to there. There. Don't worry, I'm not posting the link to join, just to watch on the Twitter. I'm a lot smarter than that. I can tell you that. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll be right back. Let me talk in the same room. It only take me 10 seconds. All right, I'm back. Just had to let the dog in. But yeah, I I really did enjoy doing that collab. That was fun. But moving on with that, I have a like right now I'm still waiting for two people in particular that I'm starting to feel like I'm regretting paying them to do a certain thing. I don't know, just uh is this one of those times when I feel like, was that really a good idea to pay these two people to do stuff for me? Then these two people, it seems like they never end up doing it. It's booking me to no end. Granted, I don't want to mention names, but well, actually, it's one person. Come to think about it, the other has a good reason, but still, uh, today today's been a good day. Just relaxing a bit. Speaking of relaxing, I should probably also post a link to my own Discord community that I run, which is the Temple of Pain or something. Um, let's see here. Yeah, shoot. I'm still getting used to Discord, uh, despite the fact that, you know, oh, okay, you're the only one watching. That's totally fine with me. I don't really care if I have one viewer or not. I just open up these hangouts, just give other people an opportunity to chat if they want. Granted, I'm not that popular, so there are times in my channel where I get tons of people watching, then other times I get little to nothing. So it's kind of an up and down curve. Uh, but that's totally fine by me. I don't care. Hashtag everyone. There. Now I posted it properly. All right. Hmm. One thing I really do miss out of the old days is, or shoot, I'm sorry, I sound like an old man, but I'm not that much old. But one thing I do miss out of YouTube back at 2012 and prior to that, actually not prior to 2012, kind of like 2015, and oh, here comes the background noise. I can fix that right there. Just close down that laptop, and it should be gone in about. There we go. Finally, the background noise is dead for a while. Um, yeah. Anyways, the thing I miss about the years of before 2015, I mean, there were plenty of people doing hangouts, playing. Like if you were bored, you could always hop on some random hangout and someone would be hosting. And now it's harder to find that. Of course, it's always easy to find the bigger YouTubers doing it because, well, everybody knows where that's going, but nobody knows where the smaller ones are. So yeah, it's harder to do hangouts or small with smaller YouTubers, but eh, in my eyes, it's kind of worth it because that's how I met some of the nicest and best people that I have on the internet at the moment. That's certainly how I met a few of the better people online. Certainly. Uh, uh, but yeah, this hangout can you can talk about whatever you like or post whatever you like. Um, there's no really guiding rule of what people can and cannot talk about. Um, like we could talk about feminism, SJWism, religion, say MGTOWism, whatever. I do not care. Like the topic can be about anything you like on this hangout. And the reason why I don't care what the topic is for this hangout is because it's probably going to be deleted after it's done because eh, I don't feel like having this hangout up recorded on my channel unless if something really really ridiculous happens. Like I would never see this and happen in a million years. But if the white YouTuber or some bigger YouTuber came up, then probably would keep it. But other than that, I probably wouldn't. I probably wouldn't even keep it on my channel. Uh, but yeah, in other news, I'm going to take a vacation on June 20th through the June 21st. Now, I know that may not seem a long vacation, but I decided to make a video making an offer to people who want to do guest videos, basically. And ultimately, I got a few people that are actually interested in doing guest videos, which is fantastic. One of them already sent me a video, so I'm all set. And and everybody can still give me guest videos. And this is what I was thinking. I was not at first. I wasn't expecting people to automatically just say yes to the guest video thing and start sending me stuff. So here's my proposal for that. That as soon as January 20th comes, what I'll do is I'll post, say, all of the guest videos I receive. Now, granted, it won't be all at once because that would be chaotic, but maybe two on two of them on the 20th and two on the 21st. Then essentially, if I get more, I'll just do it like that. Just post two per daily because I was not expecting to have like at least 7+ people say yes and say that they want to do they're going to make a guest video of, and I was not expecting a lot of people to actually want to do that. So wow. So yeah, I think that probably means a lot of people like me enough, but I don't know. Uh, let's see here. Mm. Shoot, I'm gonna have to open that laptop now. What that means is there's going to be background noise because there's always background noise whenever I open up that laptop. But it's the only way I can check Twitter and that stuff. So it'll be like probably a minute, but I just might mute myself for two. I wouldn't say two, but half a minute and see if people are asking me to join up or hop on in. But those in the chat who want to ask me anything, make sure to ask anything to me, and I'll do my best to answer it. There. Now I'm going to open up the laptop. And I'm going to mute myself for like 10 seconds to see if the background noise dies. Oh, wait. I think it's dead. Finally. Oh, hey, Deconfirm Man. It's been a while since you and I chat. Well, let me on, or not let me on, let me know if you want on. What is the nature of reality? I don't know. I don't claim to know what the nature of reality is. What's 5,000 to the power of 20? Shoot, that's a math question in particular. It's been a while. Oh shoot, my math skills has gone drastically gone down to the drain. 42. There we go. But yeah, that reminds me. I don't think you saw my video asking for a guest video. So anytime you want to make a guest video, just let me know and I can post up on the channel. All right, you want in? So I'm gonna post it in the chat really quickly, and I'm going to be super quick about it. All right, as soon as you come on in, I'm just going to remove it immediately. You don't have to join if you don't want to. But yeah, today's been a really awesome day. Just did a collab, had a lot of fun. Okay, I'll be there and not woots. Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah, screw it. Converted man here. There, okay, I said it. All right. Hey, what's up?
oh, good. I'm actually having a nice day. I just got done with a collab video with me and Amanda Wolfchild, and that was fun.
Yeah, I was gonna check that out. I was gonna check out your looking for guest videos or whatever the leap that was, and I got distracted. I don't know with what. Trying to find something to make content out of it. I've noticed. I don't know if you've noticed this, but I think all the atheists have scared the theists off the YouTube. So, so now what?
Well, I think they're still around. They've just transformed into other stuff. I mean, like uh, like with like like with some MGTOWs, they've turned somewhat religious to a point where they've started incorporating some religious ideologies into men going their own ways. So I think part of the problem is religious. The theist thing is not only part of it is leaving YouTube, but it's also transforming into other forms of religious dogma.
Yeah, well, I mean, beliefs and people of all sorts have different beliefs about. I mean, you can be an atheist and have all sorts of weird beliefs just because the name itself doesn't really negate that. Uh, and you can call yourself a skeptic, but not wind up being skeptical about things. So it's just like these labels don't necessarily define the people, but um, I was listening to again Jordan Peterson, and it's like I'm a huge fanboy now, but he had some interesting points about. He has a lot of misconceptions about atheists. I think he needs to talk to more atheists, but he had an interesting point that like Nietzsche really was worried that God was dead. Like the idea, the concept for Nietzsche that we have killed God, like we have just demolished it. Now, I don't know. Around the time, I think that there was plenty of people still believed in God, but the idea was that once it's gone, there will be something that has to fill that void. And the same thing with getting rid of like all, if we just could snap our fingers and religion's gone, but you've got to fill it in with something else, because it's not just automatic that everybody's going to go to humanitarian ethics, for example. Uh, and when you listen to some of the more fundamental uh, theists, they will tell you exactly what they would do if they lost their faith. That I've heard people say, I would go on a killing rampage if I didn't have God or didn't believe in God. And it's like, it's kind of scary to hear that, but it's true in their mind because they've linked God to morality so much that without one they wouldn't have the other. So it's like, well, it can't be an instant change. Obviously, it's got to be a gradual thing. I mean, but I'm wondering if by getting by pushing off theism, uh, in an indirect way, we've opened the gateways to all these other weird ideologies, and political ideologies are acting like the new religion. So it's like, well, this is our fault now.
I don't know. It could be. I mean, I noticed lately since a lot of the theists have been gone on off of YouTube, it's definitely opened the doors towards other sort of avenues of craziness. I mean, like like I don't know if you know what I've been doing lately with the MGTOW community, but basically just responding to them all the time. And yeah, I can tell you that that sort of ideology I think is growing a lot more because um, since the whole God belief, the theists have been run off of YouTube. It's kind of opening the doorway towards a lot of people being able to spread a certain ideology without being it challenged.
Well, I think you've removed the one big thing, that, and of course it's still there. Of course, people still believe. It's just we're not seeing it, or maybe we're not looking for the right keywords. For all I know, right? Because I could always be wrong. But uh, what I'm seeing from religion or the theist sort of channels or whatever is comments disabled, ratings disabled. They just want to preach, and so you can't interact with that. I mean, you go, well, whatever. And so even if they have a lot of subscribers, the atheist skeptics that don't cover them, because what's the point? They're not going to respond. So there's no dialogue. So that's kind of a dead end. But with the feminism, the MGTOW, the whatever the bleep it is, they'll respond at least, if nothing else, to block. And then, but it's weird how that acts very similarly, where that many of the feminists, and I'm guessing your experiences with some of the MGTOW too, they'll just block you or they'll insult you. They won't answer questions. They won't engage in dialogue. They'll just say that they're right, and that's like the end of the conversation. So it's
Yeah,
weird. Yeah. It, it's a different kind of frustration, because it's hard to know how to tackle this, because there are important issues. Men don't have X, Y, and Z rights, and women don't have X, Y, and Z rights, and those are important issues. And so these ideologies kind of pretend like they're going to be the solution for these problems. And so you have kind of a parallel to religion, where in religion you're sold a fake disease and then a fake cure. Well, here there's a real problem, a real disease, but then you're being sold a fake cure that if only we, get this thing to happen, get rid of the patriarchy, then all the problems will be solved. Or, just give up on women and then all the problems will be solved, or whatever it is. And so, on the surface, it seems so benign and like, well, that, equality, that sounds good. Yeah, I can see the point of going your own way and not adhering to the standard norm or whatever the MGTOW is supposed to be. you know but then you get deeper into it and lose yourself to it.
Yeah, and I'm starting to realize that a lot of people have lost themselves into that sort of way of thinking. I used to know this one guy. I don't want to mention his name because anytime I do, he'll come in the comments screaming at me with an
Right.
iron wrench. But essentially, yeah, like whenever people, I mean, in regards to all this, I mean, when people are offered a sort of semi solution to their problems and then they get really deep into it, yeah, it can be very hard to well recognize that it's merely anecdotal and that what you're stuck in isn't going to be the solution forever.
Yeah, I was on Facebook and I was scrolling through stuff, and um, one of my friends had posted you know about spanking and talking about that I wonder how this side or the paw, like they were trying to figure out like what side would the left or the right side be harder to talk to about spanking, like, or whatever. And I don't know if it's a political thing as much as it is, but regardless, there was people that were absolutely doing post hoc proper ergo hoc, where they were saying, well, I was spanked and I turned out fine. Or, well, but if you do it this way, then it will be fine. Well, but if you just explain this and you do that, and then it will be okay. And I'm like, here's all these studies, and I'm like, just ignore the studies, because who cares about that, right? Like, you know better because you're so much smarter than all the data that we have that shows this is bad, but you survived it, so you obviously know better than all the data. It's just, wow. It's like, how do you stand there and say, yeah, sure, everyone, all the data says no, but you know I'm the counter example. It's like, look, it doesn't work that way. You can't. But
Mm.
it is that. But I made it through. I turned out okay. Therefore, it can work. Well, you're like the minority of minority appealing to yourself. That's what makes it. And I said post hoc proper ergo hoc because it's because of the or before this, therefore this follows. Like, this happened before this, so they're connected somehow. That's not always the case. Like, I turn on my light, it starts raining. Well, that doesn't mean that every time I turn on my light, it's gonna rain, right? But that's the sort of thinking that goes into this. Like, well, but how could it be that had I was fine if all the stats show that it's bad? Well, you're the exception. You're in the stats. It's just the one, you're the one that's in the minority. You're not the one that's in the majority that screws people up. So it's it's kind of like coincidence. How if you have a television program that reaches however many million people, and you say like the televangelists would do this. They would say, I know that one of you is keeping a jar of money on your fridge. You got to send that money in, and that will, be, that will get God on your side or whatever. Well, somebody out there is going to have that, you know, jar on of money on their fridge. It's just, because you're reaching so many people. So, but for that person, it seemed like they were talking straight to them, even though they're not in reality. So it's that sort of, we got to be careful of that in ourselves, and I always worry, like, well, what beliefs might I have that I'm not aware of?
I see, and yeah, I'm actually in the same dilemma because with everything what's going on, I'm kind of it's I don't know. It's for me. It's just hard to figure out. Okay, is there any positive or negative beliefs that I have that are that's going to get me into being somewhat close-minded on some issues, and I don't know. For me, it's hard to find that out unless if I'm told if I'm wrong, right or wrong, because every now and then when I try and ask people if I'm totally right or wrong on such subjects, people just nod their heads up and down, and that's not helping. That's just confirmation always, and it's not really telling me if I'm actually wrong on this subject at all. And I guess that's kind of the dilemma I'm in.
Right. I mean, you have to kind of like, well, the scientific method is you set out to disprove that the thing is true, right? So you take the idea, the thing that you think is true, and then you go, okay, I'm going to try to prove that it's not true. So either I will find overwhelming evidence that it is true and I have to keep it, or I will find that it isn't true and it will just disintegrate. That's that. So I subscribed to couple different, not a number, but a couple different channels that I didn't agree with, just so that I wouldn't always be seeing the same stuff all the time. Like, yeah, I agree with that person. Yeah, I agree with that person. It's like, it's like I want to hear things that I don't agree with, so that uh, I can question myself and say, okay, well, they have a point there. Okay, they have a point there. There's, why did I disagree? And all that, so that I don't. But
Yeah.
it's if you find yourself trying to make this thing true, like going out of your way to say, oh, well, but see, you know, this website said it was true, and it's like, yeah, but like 99 other ones said it was false. That's still not good enough. You haven't even, it's still not deep enough. Like, if it's important enough, you should scrutinize the bleep out of it, because otherwise, how are you ever going to figure out?
Hmm. I see.
But I
Um,
guess it's harder with politics, because uh,
yeah, it's always hard on politics because everything on politics is almost subjective to a degree.
it's absolutely completely. It is all about what the image is, and the other frustrating thing with politics is there's really not much a single person can do unless they're very wealthy. You have to be part of a organization working towards a goal to change something. Unless you're rich, and then you can just hire somebody to pay off whoever in Congress and get it changed that way.
I think many of us would love that power. Granted, that
um,
I'd be
I,
a
I
dangerous.
don't like the special interests. I don't like that politics is essentially for sale. That this has been a problem for a long, long, long time, and it will. probably continue to be a problem until it breaks down and stops functioning, which it doesn't look like that's going to happen. But I know that our current president's making a lot of changes that whoever is in next will have to undo all of it. I mean, it will that will be their entire term. Will just be undoing all the things, and it's like there's like one or two things like, hey, yeah, that was good. Do that. Oh yeah, do that. No, stop doing that and that and that. Rain this. I don't know what's going on anymore. You just sit back and you watch the madness and you're like, how is this happening? I don't know. But there's nothing to do about it. What bothers me right now with all the nonsense that's going on from the president is that people will follow the minutia and they'll focus on that rather than all the big stuff. It's like, look, this is, they'll be like, oh, look at this tweet. I'm like, he tweets every 5 seconds. Who cares? what is he? What did he just get passed into law, or what is he? What are they trying to do right now? And but I'm starting to see some more promotion of the people that are standing up against these uh, against the gal that's in charge of education. This one other person stood up and just let her have it verbally, and it's like, okay, well, why isn't everybody doing that? Why isn't it that they're all, you know we will not vote anything in that you try to pass, we will block it, kind of thing, to make her obsolete? Why is it just one person? Why isn't it everybody? I don't get that. um so somebody somewhere has to believe that this is somehow good in order for it to keep going. Uh, so just talking about it doesn't change it. The only way to change it is to like get people to vote a different way and say, "Look, I'm not going to vote for you unless you block this person, or I'm going." And that's what pushes the changes, because they're there to get our votes, which shouldn't be how it works, but whatever.
Hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know. I just throw logic at it and kind of go, okay, well, I don't know. Yeah,
Hmm.
and but there's other things I have a different way of looking at things, like I forget what university it was, but the VP went and gave a commencement speech at some university, and a bunch of students stood up and walked out. And I'm like, well, the thing is, I think doesn't that doesn't tell people that you're protesting what the VP has done or what he stands for. It just does it's not an effective protest if that's what it was supposed to be. This is a moment where you should separate the man from the office, I think, and say, well, he's here as the VP, not as him. And it's cool to have the VP saying stuff at our graduation. Let's enjoy that. And then let's do the political stuff at some other time. But yeah, whatever. I don't know. Yeah, I think that how we go about changing things, we need to relook at that. You know?
Well, I guess around that front, I mean, I remember a few times when I used to walk down in my local city area, and I think I, it was a point when I believe there was a bunch of people that wanted to protest against unfair job wages, but the way that they protested was incredibly stupid. Like what they did was it was just a bunch of workers that just decided to just get off from their seats and actually just walk around the city and not even work. And they had no signs, no nothing.
Yeah, that's not. You got to be organized, you know. Yeah,
Yeah, and I don't know. I just feel that in our society that we're kind of losing the ability to even voice our disagreements and actually try and propagate change. Because I mean, like from I noticed, some protest organizations just don't work. I remember there was this one where they wanted to basically protest against a school because that school in particular refused to uh, get rid of a certain thing, and for some unknown reason I'll never understand why, but their method of trying to protest was just to was to literally go outside of the I think it's outside of the school where they keep the like outdoor activities like say football and stuff and just sit there. The problem is they were incredibly stupid because that day there was no after school activities. So when they were sitting there, nobody was around there just to notice them.
yeah. You got to look at Martin Luther King Jr. is the model to follow for how to do an effective movement that will change things. Because you have to have a powerful, well-spoken leader. You have to have an organized, peaceful, emphasize peaceful, uh, series of demonstrations that are planned out, that are thought out, that are well uh, televised. Now, back then, they didn't have all the connections we do now. They didn't have nobody had cell phones on them all the time. But imagine now if people would do sit-ins or whatever. But it has to have that grassroots organization and have a clear, distinct goal with a coherent message that's the same, and it has to include people and uh, not start more problems. And that was the brilliance of using peace rather than violence, because violence can only propagate violence. Peace can not do that. All you can do to respond to peace is be peaceful. If you respond to peace with violence, people won't be on the side of the violence. They'll be on the side of the peace. Yeah. So if people want to do marches, that can only work when you do the groundwork that Martin Luther King Jr. did. You can't just go, okay, let's get even if you get a lot of people together to hold signs and go march to the Capitol, it won't work without the organization, without the strong leader, without all those things in place. That takes time to set up. And so I think people are just kind of protesting and thinking, well, that should just change everything like magically, like tomorrow, or right now, this very instant. It's like, no, that's not that's not how it works.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
certainly
really
how
how.
none of it really works like that way anymore. I don't know. In regards to the processing thing, I really do think that I think us as a society we're even losing the ability to just actually think these out because I mean like I always like I was told I think the other day that like that there was this one protesters or group and they had no idea how to do what the thing that they wanted to protest and at that point that the whole group decided to try and attack some bystanders that didn't particularly care, and I don't know. It seems like us as society is just losing its grasp on how to properly do these things. And mind you, that some of these protests do make sense, but the problem is, it's just I just feel that us as a people are forgetting how to do that. Um,
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, because it's selective groups of people, but I just think that it's a matter of looking at history and saying, hey, look, this worked. Let's just do that again. Martin Luther King Jr., that worked. Or Gandhi, that worked. So, model what worked. Malcolm X made contributions, but the thing is that because he was, how shall I put it, okay with violence, I suppose, his changes didn't last as long as King's did. Although I think that he was a necessary force, I think that it's always good to compare those two philosophies of Malcolm X and King Jr. because they're so important in the different ways that they tried to change things. And look at what lasted. Well, King's did. X's had some impact to be sure, but the violence can only propagate violence, as I said, whereas peace can't propagate. If people respond with violence to peace, then everybody else sees that and they get on the side of the people that are peaceful because it's like they're not doing anything. They're just sitting there and they're being attacked. That they had these quiet, peaceful sit-ins where they would just chain each to handcuff each other in a circle or whatever, in a public building. And everyone knew what they were protesting. This statements were made, and the other thing was demands were not made. That's the other thing I think that a lot of these younger protesters and whatnot are getting wrong. Is that, oh, here's our list of demands. Seeing this with the universities over and over again, where the universities giving in, which is crazy because those students have no idea what they're even protesting for. But that's like its whole separate, problem with the SJWs and all that. But if you want to make a lasting change and you don't know how, you look at history and say, well, what worked? What had a lasting change? What had a lasting legacy and had a lasting impact? And also, what the ethics of the movement have to align with the goal of the movement. So if the goal is, say, equality, then you can't have things in your movement that are anti-equality because it doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense.
mm, yeah, definitely agree there.
Let's see. Any butthurt Meg tell. Okay, so men going their own way. So all I
That's a
know,
hot
all I
topic.
know, yeah, all I know about this really is the basic idea is, well, if you are tired of, I don't know, you don't want to get married, or you're tired of having to pay for dates or whatever. So I'm gonna go my own way. I'm not gonna, and I guess that's it. And I don't know what else it could. What else is it supposed to be? What is this thing? Yeah.
Uh, well, he probably was watching some of the videos of him responding to MGTOWs, and it's I'm pretty sure it's referring to um either me calling out a few MGTOWs that have been butthurt because they face criticism, and I think it might be referring to that, or quite possibly some of them being butthurt because nobody's taking them seriously either way.
His avatar reminds me of Heisenberg. I don't know if that's who it's supposed to be, or maybe he just looks like Heisenberg. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's what he's probably looks like. But yeah, overall, I think that's what he's probably referring to. Just
Yeah, but it now. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is MGTOW another political ideology, or is it something else? Because
um, it's kind of both. It's kind of political, but at the same time, it's not. But the twist is, it used to be this sort of thing where people, excuse me, people just go to their own way, but slowly and maturely, I'm starting to notice that they're becoming more and more political.
right, but what since okay, so you have this loose idea of men going their own way. Well, what does that mean? Like, is it just I'm not going to get married? Is that the statement, or is it I'm not going to pay for the entire date?
It's
You
more or
know,
less just the way that I understand it. Um, it's basically three things. It's not being married. It's living life the way that you want it, and essentially not participating into the marriage sort of lifestyle. And that's basically what the MGTOW ideology is in a nutshell. And
yeah. I mean, but I guess why even bother with some sort of name or whatever? It doesn't. I mean, who cares? Whatever. I mean,
yeah, I've been asking myself that same question for a long time, actually. Like, why even the name MGTOW? Like, there's plenty of people like me that aren't married. We go our own way, but the problem is I don't identify as a MGTOW.
right. It's
And
not. It's not like okay. Look, I mean, not everybody wants to get married, and there's good. There. See again, where the real issue is getting muddied over by clinging on to some sort of label, possibly that will become an ideology at some point. It hasn't happened yet, but give it enough time and it will. Uh, so the real issue is that the government or the state and marriage should be two different. That you getting married should not be the state should not be involved in that. There's an argument to be made about that. A lot
mhm.
of people have made this argument. And people said, look, when you go to marry someone, it should just be that you're married and that's it. That the state shouldn't care if you're married or not, and they should have no say in it. And it shouldn't involve anything like that. Uh, and if that's what you're aiming at and saying, well, because we've been, you know, in court, if you're when you're married, like, and you can see this is true, but this is more men's rights movement. It would seem to me that uh, men usually lose out on the deal. Like, let's say the guy was paid for the entire house. He's the only worker, but yet somehow she gets half or more of his stuff. What did she do? I mean, it's not like they sat down and said, "Okay, well, you were a stay at home wife. Let's see, you cleaned up, so that would be, average amount of money that you would earn from being like a housekeeper would be X. So we're gonna pretend like you got paid for that time that you were there, and then that's how much money you get. It's just like the court goes, no, you get half, or more, and so that would if that was the thing to pursue, well then pursue changing that rather than just go, well, marriage sucks because guys get screwed over. Well, that's true, but what are you doing? You're just saying, well, I'm never going to get married. Well, whoopie do. I mean, so what? Who cares? It's not going to change the problem. It's not going to do anything. But I don't know. Whatever. I don't know.
Well, that's sort of that's sort of I wouldn't say the point of MGTOW, but that's been the major thing that MGTOW goes after just the unfair court systems
Yeah,
and
but
certain.
you've got it again. They don't have an organization. They don't have a grassroots movement. They don't have a clear, coherent message, and they don't have a powerful leader that's a good speaker to guide them towards the goal. So it won't you if you if you don't want to model it after King Jr., there's other people that there's other movements that have succeeded that you could model your organization after, but they're not doing that, so it's not going to work.
No, and I definitely would agree with you there. I mean, like as far as I know, with some of those people in particular, whenever they try and organize something, they kind of fail at that pretty pretty hard. It's like they get a basic idea of what to do, then after a week or two of work, someone starts some sort of drama and the whole thing breaks down. And I guess that's a big problem within the MGTOW community is that there's no coordination, or there is coordination, but just after a while, the whole thing breaks down and nobody can tolerate each other.
Yeah, I mean, like okay, one thing that could be done is you can make a farce of the entire system. So now that gay marriage is legal, they could all start marrying, pairing off and marrying each other just for the tax benefits, and make a big deal out of the fact that we are doing this just for the tax write off, just to declare that we're married. We're not really, I mean, we're in all other respect. And so then, and, get it public, get it noticed, do a huge simultaneous ceremony where tons of guys that maybe some of them are gay, but the majority aren't, are getting married to each other and making this bold statement of I promise to marry you until the marriage system is fixed and is more fair, or something like that. And then you get it televised, you get their message out, you get a clear branding on what you're doing and why. And you say to the government, hey, look, we found a way to abuse this system, fix the system, and we'll stop abusing it. There you go, right? But see, that takes an effective leader to come forward with an idea like that and get everybody on board. Without that, you're just going to have people fighting with each other because everybody doesn't know what they're doing because there's no clear goal.
Yeah, definitely, and that's kind of a recurring theme. Like within their ideology, they try and elect, or not they, but a few people try and elect an official spokesperson, but the problem is none of them will ever agree to that person. And that's why I always made it clear with my statement that with MGTOW, there really is no hope for that community because they're not capable of deciding on, okay, who's going to be the big man or what are we going to do without having some sort of infighting happening immediately afterwards.
Yeah, it will fade out, or it will become an ideology that burns and fizzles like feminism is hopefully doing. It's slowly eating itself, but
Yeah.
it's like, well, what can I do to speed along the process? Because it is folding in on itself, and so is the SJW stuff. It is collapsing in on itself, but it's taking. It's like, well, you can't. And there again, you can't get the instant result, but well, what can be done? I don't know.
Not much. You can try and talk to
Here,
some.
here, logic. Here.
There isn't much anybody can do other than just do the regular stuff. I've been trying to talk to the thinking atheist, and
Uh,
basically basically deprogram him from Shive's sort of brainwashing of him, and it's the conversation's been rather somewhat calm. Uh,
Yeah, I stopped watching. I really miss a lot of his stuff because I enjoyed almost all of it, and then I forget what topic it was, but it's like, oh, let's look at this in a nuanced way, and that's a huge. It's like, look, I understand that we don't want a false dichotomy and we don't want black and white thinking, but it's like on this particular issue was a huge red flag. I was like, uh-huh. And the way it was set up, it was obvious where he was leaning, and it wasn't the fair, balanced perspective, the nuanced perspective that he was trying to say that it was going to be. And so I was like, I'm done. That's it. I'm done. You couldn't do it anymore. But
mm,
the big guys on YouTube usually don't really interact with anybody that much. I mean, it's unless you're because you have to be branded and you have to motivate your brand and you have to do all the YouTube formula stuff of short videos that are quick and entertaining and shiny and look pretty and don't have real. I mean, it's fluff. There's a little bit of content in there. It's kind of entertaining if you want to see the same thing done like 50 different times by 50 different people. Like, say, what's her name? The feminist that red pilled herself. Well, Lacey Green.
Lacey Green,
Right.
yeah.
So Lacey Green does the thing, and since many of the skeptics and the bigger atheists and whatnot are all going after feminism and SJW stuff, which is great. I have no problem with that because I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. I can't really. I can say some stuff on it, but it's not. I don't have a clear cut thing to analyze, so I can't do what I do with this. But at any rate, so here's this guy's talking about Stacey Green, and so is he, and that person too, and it's like, so it's like, here's nothing but the same exact topic, just talked about by different people in different and slightly different ways, but still it's like it's like, okay, it's too, I can't take it. It's like, but that's what you have to do to be a big YouTuber. Um, and I mean, okay, I guess it works. So obviously, they're doing something right. But I just am so not interested in uh, changing how I do things in order to get views. I'm like, no, no, I don't know, just do what I do. I don't care, and but yet it still is like, well, but if nobody's watching my stuff, why do it? So it's kind of like this infinite struggle that I have with myself of like, well, if I did this, then I'd get views, but then I'd be compromising my integrity. But then I'm just like, I don't know.
Mm, yeah. I don't know. For me, I noticed lately when I've gotten to a few other avenues of conversations, I've noticed I've gotten a bit more views, but at the same time, I've just been trying desperately hard to maintain certain views, like ethics, and not abandon them by going into certain popular beliefs that can compromise them. That's sort of the dilemma I'm in because, like, I know it's really easy to start. Say I could pick some random person that I'm going to respond to, then I can start instantly using just common things that I've noticed some of the bigger people have done. Um, but in the way I see it, it would compromise my moral and ethical standards.
Yeah. I'm
And
not saying, and I'm not saying like any of that's wrong. I don't want to. I don't want to say it that way. It's like, look, this formula is what works right now, and then a year from now or a week from now or whatever, some other formula is going to work. I'm not, but I'm just not interested in doing formula. But what I like and what gives me hope is that I'm sure you've seen it by now. History of the Entire World, I guess.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
you saw it.
yeah, I did. I'm
Everyone has.
struggling to
Everyone
remember
has.
it, but yeah, I did watch it.
But Bill Murr, so he's done his own thing in his own way since day one. And the history of Japan went big, and then the history of the world went huge. So it's like, well, sometimes just doing what you want to do the way you want to do it consistently, one of those things will hit big. And that's all it takes is for you to, get one, and then, you'll get you'll pick up some stuff from that. And it's like, so what that says to me is like, that there is something correct about following the path of what you want to do, how you want to do it, because it is called YouTube, not not try to become a YouTuber tube, But if somebody wants to do that, I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to do that and getting that done. It's just it's not for me. But it's still that frustration of when I see somebody new come along and go from 0 to 1,000 to 2,000 instantly or very quickly when it took me a long time to get there. That's kind of frustrating. But
Yeah,
at the same time, it's like, yeah, but they're kind of doing that and that and that and that, and it's like, okay, it's like, well, if I just publish stuff on a regular basis, that would probably be good just to start with.
I've
That I could probably do, and I probably should do, but it's like, yeah, but I just want to do things when I feel like it, not
I've tried that. I've tried making videos daily, and I've done it for a
not
month,
daily.
and
No, not daily. I couldn't do it daily. It would be,
yeah,
I don't know.
I've believe it or not, I've done that before, and it only got me 2 subs on the end of the month,
Yeah.
so it's pointless to me.
When I did 1 Minute Skeptic and I tried to do that like on a weekly or even 2 weekly basis, I just burned myself out of voices and people willing to do it, and editing and doing all. It's just I wore out. I couldn't keep up with it. So yeah, it's tough. So I mean, but yeah, I mean, I do want to have a schedule to follow because I think that would help me just in life to have like, oh hey, today's the day I'm supposed to edit a video so that I can release it by X time. It'd probably be good to do that just to do it, but not make it that I have to do it. Just kind of give myself more structure. I think would be good. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's hard to know, like again, and it's like, well, who am I doing it for? I'm doing it for the guy that I used to be. I'm doing it for the one person or two people out there that might see one of my videos and go, huh, well, I got to respond to this. I got to do something about this, and you never know who you're gonna affect. There's this one guy when I was Infinite Hope, and I wish I remembered his screen name or anything like that, who was so mad because uh, at me because like I had just kind of gone deeper into belief after he had done this long message back and forth with me or whatever, and then sometime shortly thereafter, I had retired kind of ish off of YouTube, and I was really looking into all the Christianity stuff, and so then I just closed my channel, and so I didn't have any of that information at all. It's just all gone, right? And it's like, well, wow, I wish I could find that guy and tell him, hey, yeah, turns out I became a skeptic after all. So your words weren't in vain. The things that you said weren't in vain. It wasn't just him, of course, but it was all the different people that had asked me questions over and over again that really, got me to think about stuff.
I see, and I kind of feel the same way in regards to my old channel. Because there was this one guy that, well, granted, when I was a Christian, I think from 2012 and prior to that, even though my main focus was destroying Islam through Christianity, at the time there's this one guy that tried to make an argument of why comparing trying to promote a religion over the other is ridiculous. And I kind of wish I could find that guy because he was certainly right on at least a few videos that he commented on, and granted I've never been able to find that guy ever again because, well, my old channel got flagged off by other Christians that and Muslims. I
Yeah.
was I
Well,
I was the
Islam Islam's more dangerous today. Definitely. I mean, it is. And finally, some other Islams are pushing back against the more uh, fundamental Islam. So it is starting to slowly go through the reformation that it has to go through. Uh, I don't know how much people from outside it can really influence that, to be honest, because when Martin Luther did the Reformation for the Catholic Church, he didn't set out to do it per se, but it happened, you know. So it kind of has to happen from within. I think I don't know, but yeah, I mean, given the choice between Christianity and Islam, I mean, yeah, Christianity's tamer, but only today. That's today. If you went back to the Crusades, well, that's a whole different story. They weren't tame back then. So
yeah
anything can become or be used in a wrong way or for bad maybe. I forget how Sam Harris put it, but he was talking about Jainism and like, well, if you're a fundamentalist Jain, you're just super ultra peaceful. So it's not fundamentalism that's bad. It's the thing that it's the ideology that you're being fundamentalist about that's bad. That's bad. So if it's like, hey, we're the everybody that's not us needs to die, well, that's pretty darn clear on what needs to happen. So if you
yeah
really take it serious and say, no, 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 what that means is back then, people that weren't us needed to die. It's not talking about today. It's like I want to be on the side of the people that say it's not talking about today, so that it changes, right? Uh, just like why don't the Jewish people follow all the Mosaic laws? Well, there are some that would want to, but they're very few of them now. And plus, they can't because they don't have the temple. But there's nothing. I don't know if there's anything equivalent like that for Islam. Maybe the cube, like if they lost.
the kebab, I believe.
I don't know what the belief is called. Let's just call it the black cube. Maybe if they lost
The
that,
Borg cube.
yeah. If they lost that, though, there's like inside it is like a meteorite or something that's really important. I don't know I'll have to look it up on Google and
uh,
remind myself what the bleep it is. But I just know there's that big giant black cube. So let's just say they lost that. They lost access to that. If that would be a big enough change for them to really shake off the fundamentalism stuff,
um,
or I don't know, but
it's possible. Hypothetically, if they lost that, if they lost the kebab for whatever reason, it could change that whole religion. But the problem is, that's that's more or less a long term thing. Short term, a lot of people are going to be really angry and freaked out. But in the long term, it could definitely potentially change. Certainly, the fundamentalism. I used to make this point when I was a Christian that the only way you can reform an entire religion is if you have to do it from a combination of outside forces and within, just just working together on basically. And part of the method was to basically try and promote a different form of a religious doctrine that was heavily cherry picked, like remove all the blade stuff and nothing but the nice and loving kindness of this or that. And granted, that would get really ridiculed really harshly, but over time, more and more people start to believe in that altered doctrine that would be a lot more tamer. Then eventually you could change an entire religion, but granted, those take a lot of those that will take a lot of time.
Yeah, or you're right. The Kababa, or however you want to say it.
Yeah, the like I'm just saying that if like even if someone removes that kebab, I mean, it will create change, but it's more long term.
Well, we'll see
And
what happened with the temple, with the Jewish temple was, the Islam took it, and then I don't know who controls it now or whatever, but at any rate, their temple was destroyed, and so they don't have it. So it's like if something similar, like say a meteor smashed into it or something, I don't know, well they'd probably just rebuild it, but um, if they couldn't get to it for some reason, I wonder how much that would uh, affect change or what have you. Uh, but it doesn't have to be something that drastic to get people to change. I'm just saying that something like that can spark change, but it might be change for the bad for all I know.
yeah, like it's incredibly hard to tell if that change is going to be good or bad. Like suppose if that ever did happen, like there's always a possibility of them getting so enraged that they may just double down on the whole being the worst religion on earth, which I don't think anybody wants.
Yeah, well, it's that the ideology comes with a lot of other things other than just religion by itself. There's more to it than that because there's a lot of politics and laws and things that come with that. This is really interesting. Huh. Weird.
Hmm.
Who built it?
That I don't know. I have no idea who built
Yeah.
that cube.
Like,
But
look, big old cube.
the
Oh,
as far as
now you
I
can see it.
know of
Oh,
that cube is it's supposed to symbolize the center of the universe or something for Muslims, and or it's the way that they would say it's the cornerstone of all of creation, and that's why they walk in a circle because they see it as the literal North Pole of
well, you can
creation.
see what it looks like on the inside on Google Maps. So,
Really, you can do that?
yep, yeah. The Wikipedia was like, yeah, you can see what it looks like inside on Google Street Maps. Like, oh, okay, cool.
Hmm.
And I'm looking at it now. There's this like little golden safe looking thing. I don't know. And I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure what I was expecting to be inside, but yeah, I mean it's pretty basic. I mean, there I don't understand the significance of any of this. I don't know why we're on this subject. I blame something. I don't know.
Uh, yeah, you can blame the Cookie Scout girl
Oh,
or
whoa,
something.
whoa! Going outside, there's a whole bunch of people around it. Yep. seriously.
Yeah.
This one, this one kid has a little kitty cat hat on. It's like, what the heck? They call it the,
Hmm. At some point, I found this oh snap sort of Twitter meme, and it's just
yeah.
brilliant. Where the cat it looks like the eyes are getting dilated really wide, and he slowly turns his head at you, and they're opening wider. Then he puts his paw over his mouth, and it's just genius.
Hmm.
I gotta find that because it's super hilarious. But when I do, I'll tag you on that on Twitter because I was thinking about finding a way to download that um because I figure that's good material I could use in a potential video for fun. Like I could maybe post that and be like, oh snap, and that's just uh to me that'd be hilarious.
Hmm.
In fact, I may even be tagged by that sort of thing, so I might actually be able to let's see here. I just might be able to pull up. Let's see here.
The building surrounding the kebab is no joke either.
Yeah,
It's
they
ginormous.
yeah, the area surrounding that place is ginormous.
I'm walking through it using Google Street View now. Hey, can we get some snacks in here or something?
Well, that's up
This
to
place is.
you.
Uh, no, I don't think. No, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you were respect. I mean, because I mean, obviously, if you go to a place like that, you should be respectful, even if you don't believe this stuff, because it's just that's just how it's done.
Well, if
It,
you're there, you don't. If you're there, you wouldn't have a choice in the matter. I mean,
well, yeah, there's that too, because it's like, well, do I want to be respectful or die today? I don't know.
yeah,
but I mean, it's just that's just kind of you gotta.
yeah, that's
It's about saying, look, I don't believe this, but I'm gonna be I'm gonna view this thing and look at it because it's it's a thing to look at. I mean, what else? What else is? What else can you say? And okay, well, all right. Well, I'm going to get off Google Maps because I could be. Oh man, I found a thing to do. That's dangerous.
let me see
Oh,
here. Hashtag Dan Green.
what is this? Hashtag Dan Green. No,
Um,
is that what is my Twitter? I am. I know I have a Twitter. I just don't know how to.
I'm just trying to find you the thing because when you see
What,
it, it'll make you laugh. Because I just found it to be incredibly.
add deconverted man. Oh, is that it? Oh, I thought there was a.
All right, found it. There you go. I tagged you into the weird Twitter thing. I just find it incredibly funny.
Uh, Tweet, tweet, tweet. Chirp, chirp. I don't see your thing. When do what happens? When do I get this tweet?
Oh,
How does this
shoot.
work?
I can just, I
At
have an
T
idea.
converted man. What happens if I tweet myself?
Uh,
Tweeting me. Tweet myself. What happens? Nothing.
um, well, I can always try and post it on your Facebook if you like.
No, tweet it. I want to know what happens when I get a tweet from somebody.
All right. Let
What
me.
happens? It's exciting. I don't know I mean, I'm on Twitter. I have 14 people apparently following me.
All right.
No, no,
Uh,
I'm sorry. I have 51 people following me. Oh, cool. I didn't realize that.
all right. I'm gonna try and tweet it to you again. Let's see here. May take me a second because my computer is slow. Yeah, may hit when my computer's slow. Mm, come on. All right, I think I just tweeted at you. Hmm? Oh well, he left apparently. I don't know why, but it could be internet issues. I don't know why he left. I still need to figure out a way to download those and use them in videos. That'd be so funny. Let's see what's in the chat. Respect for pussies. Yeah, I have the same views. Oh, well, yeah, it was internet issues. Well, it happens. Anytime you want in, I can maybe invite you over, or I can give you a link again, and you can pop on it again. There. I mean, just ask the question: do you need a link to get back on? Okay. All right. Well, you take care, Deconfirm, man. You take care. Mm. But still, I seriously need to download that sort of stuff. But yeah, I'm going to end the Hangouts now because I'm tired. I'm tired, and yeah, I'm not going to do it to hang out because yeah, have fun today, and that I guess that's what matters in life. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and see you all in the next video. Yeah, same to you, Deacon Vermin. Good night.